stand. So the outer paddock, which is where the BRC guys are camped out, and there's the circuit. And they are using the chicane today by all accounts, which will make it very interesting. So it's a 24-hour C1, Citroen C1 race is the main event this weekend that the BARC is sharing the track time with. So I think we'll take the opportunity now to have a look at the championship standings going into round 7. After a thrilling race at Brands Hatch last time out, it's getting very close at the top of the championship. Ricky Taylor still leads, but is being hunted down by Alfie Brooks' Quick Mini and the unformed Brad Lane in his newly engined Honda Civic. Dominic Ryan is having a consistent season so far, and he's racking up the points, as is 5th place Jamie Primett in a Snodhurst Racing Honda Civic, highest placed rookie, and it's hard to believe this is only his first year of racing. Further back is the highest placed Saxo of Steve Everson, just ahead of the reliability thwarted Seat Leon of Bob Hosier and the fast but inconsistent Mikey Day, equal on points. The biggest surprise of the championship this year so far is Dan Fisher, currently in 9th place after the roll at Brands Hatch earlier in the year destroyed his first Honda Civic. Now rebuilt the car, he's the one to watch in the second half of the season as he consistently runs the fastest times on the grid. Dave Hutchins rounds out the top 10. Worthy of note in the second half of the championship table is the very fast Ford Puma of Adrian Matthews. Also note Seat Leon driver Dave Charlton appears twice in the table after he changed classes from T2 to T1 partway through the season. Chris Bicknell is having a good and consistent season so far and is driving very well in the blue Saxo, while Terry Waller leads the production class and is 14th overall. Part-time championship runner Cam Cuneo, driving the Honda Civic, is incredibly fast, but having only competed in a few races this year, lies 15th overall. With the same to be said for Marcus Bicknell in the quick green Saxo, down in 18th having missed a race and had engine issues earlier in the season. Nick Lund makes up the top 20 with a very pretty Honda Integra. So without further ado, let's take a look at what happened in qualifying. So as the cars line up for qualifying, speaking to Jamie earlier, one of the main criteria for him in this session is 1, learn the track. It's the first time he's been out on it for real. 2, work on a lap time, and 3, make sure he gets a clear track. So eyes down, here we go. He's following Cam, who's been here before, learning the track. I think he's been here before. So they're just following each other, learning the track, trying to keep an eye on the mirror, make sure they're not getting in the way of anybody who's quicker at this point, but also just following the lines, see where the braking points are, etc. Track looks great actually. It's a lovely day too, so that's always good. So first time on the banking, reaching speeds of around 120 on the banking, I'm told, which is awfully close when that wall gets right next to your ear. So they come round, Cam Traynor, Jamie in second, followed by Dave Charlton in the quick Seat Leon. Fish Kane. Oh, now we've got the fast boys, Brad Lane, Ricky Taylor behind him, so they'll want to get past as quick as they can. Oh, and Brad Lane, followed by, it wasn't Ricky Taylor, it was followed by Dan Fisher. So they're through. Dan didn't get through, he's now going down the inside into the left-hander in turn 3, sorry, the right-hander at turn 3, good job I'm not driving. Following Brad Lane, Fisher desperately trying to get past with Ricky Taylor behind him. I think Jamie's now just going to try and ease over to the side to let him down the inside of him when he gets a moment. Yeah, there he goes. Followed by Ricky Taylor. Let them get on with their laps. Jamie's race isn't really with them at this point in time. He certainly doesn't want to get in the way of each other in qualifying. So there they go, following each other through. Finally, a clear lap. Let's see what this looks like. So building the speed up. One of the things I've noticed is you get to this point in the dip, your car's so compressed, there's so much downforce pressure, not sure it's downforce, but pressure. The car's actually trying to bog down. There's so much grip on it. Right, through the chicane on a fast lap. Taking all the curb on the right hand side. Big bump. Down into late apex into the Dean hairpin. So I'm trying to take the curb actually on the way out of that hairpin. Gives you a better throw down to here onto turn 3. Hooks up. Takes all of the curb. And all of the curb again. Left hander. Lets it drift out to the right. Steers wide right. Left again. Trying to keep the steering angle to a minimum. Braking, hard braking for this. Lets it swing out right. Takes all of the track. Just keeps you within track limits. And what is the back exit to the pits, which isn't used, by the way, other than for getting the cars off the track at the end of a race. Round through the chicane and back onto the straight. It looks like a decent lap actually. Pushing hard. Let the car do its thing. This looks like a good lap. And across the line. That's a quick lap. So let's take a look at the results for qualifying. So Dan Fisher 2 seconds ahead. Did look very quick today. Ricky Taylor in second and Brad Lane a thousandth of a second between Ricky and Brad. Cam very good in 4th place. Adrian Matthews takes 5th. Adrian's car looking very quick. Mikey Dave managed 6th, but he had a tough day. Didn't finish many laps. Dave Charlton in 7th with a very quick St. Leon. And a fantastic qualifying session for Jamie. Jamie finished in 8th in the Snodhurst Honda Civic with Vic Hope in the Type R Civic behind, and Dominic Ryan, who's always there very consistently, rounding out the top 10. Marcus Bicknell in the Saxo gets 11th place. Alfie Brooker out of position, I have to say. I would expect more from Alfie, as I would from Bob in 13th. Both cars I think having difficult times of it. Ben Forbes, Chris Bicknell in the Saxos, very close to each other. John Wild, Nick Lund, Gideon September all bringing up the bottom. Steve Everson didn't get out at all, no time. That's going to hurt him badly, and it may well be that he doesn't feature today because you have to qualify with at least 3 laps. So I just finished qualifying.
Yep.
It looked red hot out there, to be honest.
Very warm.
It was
So warm, pretty hard work, and it's only quali. We've got 2 races to go, so we've got the rest of the day's heat. And the heat soaked through the car to go. So
8th position in quali is good going?
Yeah, 8 out of 20.
Yeah.
So yeah, below half.
Never been here before?
Never been here before. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Lives up to expectations of being really slippery. So we'll just see what happens in the race.
Is it dusty?
There's a little bit, nothing too much.
It's just the tarmac.
Yeah, the tarmac is renowned for being so slippery. The road surface doesn't seem any different than what you get driving down the A2.
Wow.
It's just normal. So there is a little bit of dust on the track where some of the C1s have obviously gone off in practice.
So the obvious question I've got to ask you though,
yeah.
What's the banking like?
Scary. But it's fun, yeah, flat out 5th. I've had a short shift to 5th and then just tow it all the way around and just hope that it comes out the exit point on the other side. Point facing the right direction, because that wall it just comes at you so fast, and if you get the line wrong.
Does the wall look close?
Yeah. Yeah, it does at that speed.
So what is the braking point for the chicane? Because a lot of people, a lot of different, from where I was watching, a lot of different braking points.
Yeah, there's one on the pit wall that I'm trying to use on the left hand side. So I'm trying to use that, but the chicane comes up on you so quick. It's not a hard braking area. It looks it, but it's not.
Right.
So I'm just trying to push that a little bit later, but there's no other braking points because the white wall looks the same.
And what gear you going through in it?
Fourth gear through that.
Down one.
Yeah, and the problem is you're coming off the banking onto the flat, and then back up onto the banking. When you come back out onto the bank, there's a massive divot. So it makes the car go all light on the way out. You can't miss it. I've tried different lines coming out, you just can't miss it.
And it looks like most people are taking the outside curve of the chicane a lot, and almost missing the inside curve.
Yeah, just straight line. So yeah, we've got more curve there. I know I can have more curve there, so we'll give it a go. For me, qualifying is just about getting the best up there I can, and I'll learn in the race as much as I can. So
expectations for the race?
If I could finish top 10, I'll be happy. With my recent the starts where I always struggle a bit, so I always tend to lose a couple at the start. We got turn 1 on the out lap, so for the first lap we got the turn 1, we missed the chicane, so hopefully we can carry some good speed through there.
Well, everybody misses the chicane.
Everybody does. Hope not. Hope some people go up it, but yeah, if we can carry some good speed down to the Dean hairpin, should make for an interesting first corner or second corner.
Alright mate, I'll let you get on.
Yeah, thanks, got stuff to do.
You won't need the extension. So the life and times of Snodhurst racing drivers.
It's really tough being a racing driver.
I heard the regime was really tough.
We've qualied for 15 minutes. We need that.
So with preparations done, it's time for the Snodhurst guys and everybody else to get out onto the grid for race 1. Looking forward to this. Just pulling away on the formation lap. It always amazes me how much work these guys have to do on the formation lap to get the cars ready as it goes over the line for the start. Pumping heat into the tyres as best they can. Left foot braking, get some heat into the brake pads all the time, making sure they don't overheat the engine. Worth noting, just as we start, Mikey Day, he had issues, as I said earlier, had issues in qualifying, and he hasn't actually made the start, which is terrible news for him. Oh, Cam Tunio there, just locking up, trying to get the heat into the brakes. Come round onto the start finish straight, the banking. Everybody now starts bunching up. As well as cameras in Jamie's car today, we have cameras in Adrian Matthews' very quick orange Ford Puma. We also have the yellow Honda Civic of Cam Chirino's providing onboard action as well. Dan Fisher, Ricky Taylor, Brad Lane, Cam Tunio, Adrian Matthews, Dave Charlton, all in front of Jamie now. They're all preparing for the race. And we're about to go racing here at Rockingham. Jamie makes a good start, edging past Dave Charlton in the Seat Leon and keeping pace with Adrian Matthews. Adrian has the inside line for the hairpin, so he'll pull ahead. Dan Fisher goes wide on the turn-in, allowing Taylor and Lane to get past. And now he's side by side with Tunio. Tunio's through and Matthews is on the back of Fisher. It's Taylor, Lane, Tunio, Fisher, Matthews and Primett as we head into the infield. Everyone's pushing hard on this first lap to try and get position. Jamie has a charging pack to contend with while the front four edge away. Dave Charlton's fast Seat is now putting Jamie under pressure after Jamie's edged him at the start, and just behind the Seat is the Mini of Alfie Brooker, second in the championship currently. Even though Charlton is applying the pressure, the front four aren't getting away. And Charlton's passed on the front straight. Just too much grunt in that T1 class car for Jamie to keep him behind. Now the other T1 class Mini of Brooker is in the Civic's tow, goes to the outside on the banking and gets on the brakes. And out does Jamie going into the chicane. Nice move. Dominic Ryan in the T2 Ford Puma, who Jamie had a good race with last time out at Brands Hatch, is keeping a watching brief on the rear of Jamie's Civic. Meanwhile, Dan Fisher got back passed into the lead and is pulling away at the front. Matthews and Tunio about to start to fight it out for third place, as Tunio chucks it down the inside of Taylor, who looks to have a problem. Yeah, Matthews has gone through too. Ricky Taylor definitely has a problem. That's not good news for his championship. Yeah, it looks like Taylor's heading for the pits. Look at this battle for second, third and fourth. Lane, Tunio and Matthews nose to tail as they go up under the banking. Oh, Jamie and Dominic have gone wide. Both back on him. Bob Hosier down the inside, properly on it, but they're coming into the braking zone. Bob's lost it under brake and he's left it late. He's off. Jamie keeps chasing the Seat of Charlton as Brooker's Mini powers away from him in 5th place. Jamie is closing in on the Seat. He closes in on the chicane. He's through into the hairpin. Or is he? Charlton comes back on the inside. Ryan's keeping a watching brief on the action just to see if he can nick a place. Side by side, and Jamie's through as they go into turn 3. Now Jamie has to push. He has to break the toe that Charlton's using. He's got to get away from him. He's got to head up the road towards the Mini. Jamie's definitely a man on the move. Meanwhile, Matthews has got ahead of Tunio and he's chasing Brad Lane. Or is he? Tunio's back at him down into the turn into the Dean hairpin. He can't make it stick, but this is turning into a proper dogfight for third. Tunio's down on the inside and they're pushing each other all the way along the steel straight into the Tarzan hairpin. Tunio holds it into Brooke. Back in a Snodhurst Civic, Jamie's caught Brooker's Mini and he's dived down the inside through the hairpin. And it looks like the Mini has a problem. The Mini's slowing. For the first time, Jamie has some clear air. He can stretch the Civic's legs, but there are very few laps left to chase down for 4th place. That won't stop him trying though. The same cannot be said for Tunio and Matthews, who are still hard at it. We're coming down to the last corner. Tunio's gone defensive. He's trying to keep Matthews behind him. This may be a mistake if it goes down to a drag race. The Puma's faster in a straight line. Let's see what happens. It's all down to the exit. Oh, Matthews has a good exit. I'm not sure Cam has anything left to fight back against the raw pace of the Puma. No. Adrian Matthews is going to take 3rd place. Cam Tunio realises and has to accept 4th place is the prize for that titanic battle. On the other hand, just coming onto the banking for the final time and barring any last second catastrophes, Jamie Primett in the Snodhurst Racing Honda Civic is going to record his best result of the season so far with a huge 5th place. This will mean a lot to the team after all the work they've put in their first year of racing to get to this point, both in the car and the driver. Well done everyone at Snodhurst. And he crosses the line in 5th place. Yep, happy bunny. And so to the results. What a race. full of action and drama from start to finish. Dan Fisher takes a clear win by 2 seconds at the flag ahead of Brad Lane, both drivers running Civic Type R's T2 class. Third place in the end goes to the Ford Puma of Adrian Matthews, who clinched it on the last corner in a great race with 4th place Cam Tunio in the Snodhurst prepared and run Honda Civic. What a race these two had. Best result of the season so far. Jamie Primett comes home 5th in the Snodhurst Civic, getting his revenge on Dominic Ryan after the Brands Hatch result went the other way. Alfred Brooker and Dave Charlton finished 7th and 8th respectively. After an early excellent battle with Jamie, Brooker limped the Mini home with a drive shaft issue, and Dave Charlton, I believe, was suffering with rising temperatures, so he also limped his car home. A 10th place for Chris Bicknell is an excellent result for the Saxo driver, who finished within a second of the T1 class seat of Bob Hosier, who reported a few car related issues during the race. Having said that, that's not a bad result for Bob. After his mechanical woes at Brands Hatch last time out, he'd be glad to get some points on the board. Further back, the Saxos of Marcus Bicknell and Ben Forbes finished nose to tail, which I guess shows the outright pace of the Saxos on a power circuit like Rockingham, how well these guys get the most out of their Citroens. The big casualty of race 1 was Ricky Taylor, who caught a curb the wrong way and damaged a wishbone, which ended his race in the pits. Reports are we'll be ready and back for race 2. Mikey Day and Steve Everson didn't make the start of race 1, both had mechanical issues. The latter unfortunately didn't make qualifying either, which means he's been excluded from the meeting today as he didn't complete 3 laps in qualifying. That's a significant blow for the Saxo driver. It's also a great shame. So let's have a word with Cam Tunio about that epic battle with Adrian Matthews for 3rd place. So you've got to be pleased with that. That was a proper race.
It was a good race. It's a shame I lost in the last corner, but there we go. We've got race 2 to make up for it.
Well, you just didn't have the legs on at the end of the straight. You've run out of gears.
I ran out of gears, so I kept him behind for pretty much, in fact, the whole race. He went past once, and he locked up, and I got ahead of him. It was the last corner that I shouldn't have bothered going defensive. I should have stayed full on attack mode and let him get past me after the start finish line.
Yeah.
But I went defensive on the last corner to get him back at the. I didn't know it was last lap. There's no flag.
No.
So there you go.
Brilliant to watch though.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly had a quicker car in the straight.
He did, yeah.
But he probably mugged him on the infield.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good fun. But there we go. Need some more power.
So what you can do for race 2?
Just drive the wheels off it.
That
Not crash. That's the plan.
was brilliant to watch though.
Cheers, Neil.
Lovely.
Cheers. Cannot get rid from the top.
How's the car, Jamie? Is it alright?
Looks alright, yeah.
You right, pal?
Yeah.
Right, when the plate drops,
Yeah.
just try and keep the direction of it.
A good clean start for Dominic Ryan, who just edged Jamie out into 5th place. Alfie Brooker's had an absolute flyer of a start. Look at the pace as he's heading into the hairpin. And a touch of deja vu heading down into turn 1, with Dave Charlton on the bumper of Jamie's Civic going into the Dean hairpin. And talking of deja vu, Matthews and Tunio have picked up where they left off in race 1. Dave Charlton squeezes through, and Ricky Taylor, who's flying, having started at the back of the grid after his race 1 retirement, also looks to follow through. Bob Hosier tries the same tactic but can't stop the car in time. That's the second time he's outbraked himself into that corner. Hosier seems to have recovered from that moment at the last corner. He's now on the back of Jamie's Honda again. And he goes through. He's also pushing incredibly hard to pull away. And unusually, he's locked a rear brake up, going down into the Tarzan corner, but continues to push hard. Meanwhile, Marcus Bicknell's having a great race and is looking very feisty, trying to find a way past the Snodhurst Civic. Bob and Jamie are closing in on Dave Charlton, who seems to be slowing again in the second half of the race. Marcus Bicknell has another look down the inside of Jamie and again overshoots. On board with Cam Tunio, Alfred Brooker outdrags him onto the banking, while Hosier and Jamie catch Charlton. Cam is in the tow of the Mini, the end of the straight, and does him at the chicane. As does Hosier on Charlton. Junior's now back with Matthews. And Jimmy gets a run on Charlton through the chicane and easily passed him on the run down to the Dean hairpin. These two have definitely been here before. Jimmy takes a great defensive line and Charlton can't do anything about it. That's good clean racing. It's the last corner. Contact! Ricky Taylor with a late lunge. Cam takes one in the door as Taylor just can't get the speed out of the car in his desperate attempt to get past on the last corner. Alfie Brooker takes advantage of that and he jumps both of them to go fourth. That manoeuvre will have repercussions on the championship standing, especially after the round 1 retirement. Meanwhile, Jamie brings the Snodhurst Racing Honda Civic home. So let's take a look at how they finished. The podium positions are a repeat of race 1, with Fisher, Lane and Matthews taking the top 3 positions. Alfie Brooker outdrags Ricky Taylor to the line after that last corner altercation with Tunio, who comes home 6th, very disappointed. Bob Hosier has a spirited drive to 7th after a tough start to the season. I'm sure he'll take the points happily. Dominic Ryan snuck past Jamie Primett to take 8th place, with Jamie 9th after getting back past Charlton in the latter stages of the race. Again, Charlton's engine overheating in the latter stages. The Bicknell swapped places in race 2, with Marcus getting the upper hand this time around over Chris. Mikey Day finished the race in 13th place with an underperforming car, having started at the back of the grid. Tough day for him. And Gideon September wins the production class and is the last finisher on the road, as Ben Forbes retired his car during the race. What a weekend though. What a race weekend. So let's hear from Jamie about how Rockingham was for him.
Everybody was beer o'clock.
Yeah, had some good battles actually. I don't know what happened to Marcus. He was having a good race, and one corner he'd gone.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, but yeah, a few times he'd come past a bit too hot round to the hairpin, so he just went on the cutback. So he managed to get back passing, like gap him on the straight, he catch a little bit, and yeah. Good run.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, good, another good battle with Dave Charlton. Made another good move on him.
Yeah, he got him, and then he sort of, don't know whether he had a problem or not. He dropped away really quick.
Yeah, he said he was suffering a little bit with overheat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was getting up there, and he just didn't want to damage it. To be fair, racing driver excuse.
yeah, we've got to book.
Oh, just quicker. But no, to be fair, yeah, it was good. It was a lot more difficult than the first race, but nevertheless.
Good day though.
Oh,
good day.
Epic day. Yeah. This is the one track I was worried about actually, and actually it's turned out to be my favourite. So, yeah.
Me and your dad had a bet and said, I bet he says this is his favourite track by the end of the day.
It's completely different, isn't it? Like with going around the banking, I mean, it was flat in the fifth. Yeah. Getting around there, and then going through, coming off the banking onto the flat through the chicane, and then back on the power again. So it's pretty. When I went past Dave on the outside through the cones, through the chicane, got a good run on him. That's where I went past him, and I cut across early. It felt like I went over a speed ramp, so I overtake him. Massive bump. Wouldn't recommend it.
Really?
Yeah, really big. We must have got air. Really hit it. So coming on and off the banking, really difficult, really challenging.
But you come down.
Yeah, really bad. So yeah, I literally jumped off over the bump and back onto the banking. Yeah, really hard. But yeah, it was awesome.
But you've had some massive improvements today, so really aggressive now in through the corners where you need to be.
Yeah, getting faster and faster.
Yeah, and you've had some epic overtakes. I can't wait to see the footage.
Yeah, no, some of them really good. So yeah, well happy with everything. Yeah, really happy with the way the day went.
Citroen C1s
so Snedden next.
24-hour
yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, because you've got a chance now to use the power on the car.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So, on the Indy it's a little bit Mickey Mouse, isn't it? So tick for tack. It's tick for tack on the Indy brands, but here we get to open them up a little bit more, check brakes.
Excellent, great job, mate.
Thank you.
So as everyone packs up and goes home after what's been a fantastic race weekend here at Rockingham, it's worth reflecting on the championship standings at the end of what's been a very important weekend for the championship. Ricky Taylor still leads the championship, but the gap's now down to 3 points from second place, Alfie Brooker. That race 1 DNF and that last corner lunge has cost Ricky daily this weekend. Dominic Ryan remains 1 point behind Brad Lane after both drivers had good weekends. Jamie Primett is cemented in 5th place after the 2 good results this weekend scored him solid points. However, a huge 5-place leap to 6th place overall for Adrian Matthews with 2 third places today is a great result for him. He's now equal on points with Dan Fisher, who had 2 wins today, and he also moves him up the order. It's going to be a great second half to this season if today is anything to go by. Although Bob Hosier had a better run today, he loses a place in the championship due to the successes of others in front of him. Dave Charlton moves 3 places up to 9th. Chris Bicknell makes the top 10 in the championship after solid finishes today, which is great news for him as he now heads the Saxo Challenge after a terrible day for both Mikey Day and Steve Everson, who had terrible reliability issues that hurt their championship. Cam Tunio, as we said, isn't doing a full championship this year, but he jumps to 11th after 2 strong performances, and I bet if he ever sees that last corner before the banking ever again, it'll be too soon. And Marcus Bicknell moves up 2 places after a good weekend's racing for him. So, just finally to say, what a fantastic race weekend this has been here at Rockingham. It's probably the last time we'll get to Rockingham if the rumours about what's happening with the circuit are true. But what a brilliant day. It's been a tale of issues and unreliability problems, some of the championship contenders, but it's mostly been about fabulous racing and a lot of people really playing to the top of their game. So, next race is Snedden, which is another power circuit. That's in a few weeks' time, so we'll all see you there. Thanks for watching, and the obvious thing to say is please subscribe to the channel. It helps us all out. Thanks.